Hey guys, welcome back to the Dan's POV podcast. My name is Dan, and I am so glad to have you guys here with me today. So let's get into the episode. So, a little life update. I spent this past week looking for an apartment for the city that I'm moving into. And I do have like a short list, but I'm not like comfortable making a deposit until I actually go visit and see it for myself. And yeah, I've just been shopping a lot and just like prepping a lot for my big move and getting all my necessities, getting a little decor, because I'm one of those people that if I don't start now, I will push it off forever to the point where I will literally be sleeping on an air mattress 3 years in. Anywho, besides that, I'm actually going to be having a girls trip with my sisters before I leave. And I'm honestly really excited for this trip just because I haven't had a trip for about 4 months. I think I went on a trip earlier this year. So it's been a minute since I've been outside, and since I wouldn't be able to travel as much when I'm in school, I'm trying to get it all out of my system, you know what I mean? Anywho, besides that, I really haven't been up to much at all, other than, like saying my farewells, meeting up with some friends, which is like sad and exciting at the same time. Like, I don't even know what to feel at this point. But anywho, getting into today's episode, I was actually planning a Q&A, but there's like one question that I was like, this deserves a whole episode on its own. So the question I was asked was how to get over the fear of being perceived and how to make friends in college. And this is something that I struggled with. Like, I'm being 1,000% with you guys right now. When I was 18 and I started college, I basically convinced myself that I wasn't going to get along with people. Like, I'm a particular taste, you know what I mean? And I was like, I don't know how to make friends. Like, I don't know how to connect with these people. Therefore, I just like created this version of myself that mainly kept to herself. And I was like a quiet person, very awkward. I didn't want to speak to people unless spoken to. Like, there was a point where I didn't even giggle. Like, I didn't even laugh at the jokes. And it was a pretty funny joke. Like, it was insane. But then that's just like the version that I created of myself, right? That was like what I was portraying. Because at the end of the day, I already convinced myself that I was not going to fit in. So why even try? You know what I mean? And this like created this cycle that just fed my social anxiety even more, which honestly made me more quieter. It made me more reserved. And it made me overthink every little thing I said or done during that day. Like, it would constantly just replay in my head. And I would also like come up with all the possibilities of how that conversation or how that thing could have been done. You know what I mean? And at the time, I didn't even realize that I was building my whole personality around trying not to be misunderstood. And I was just so afraid of being judged by people for any reason. And I just created this belief in my head that if people were to see who I was, or like actually see the person that I've been hiding this whole time, that they wouldn't like her, or that there's something wrong with her, you know what I mean? And that's when I kind of realized that the fear of being seen is often just the fear of being misinterpreted, and somehow that the intention that I had would not match the perception. And for some reason, I was taking that so personally, even though it really wasn't, you know what I mean? So there's this phenomenon called the spotlight effect. And it's basically like a metaphorical spotlight is shining on you at all times. Everything that you say, everything that you do, every flaw, you just basically convince yourself that all eyes are on you and everybody is judging every single thing that you're doing, which honestly just creates this pressure to being perfect because we're so afraid of messing up. And if you really think about it, even studies have shown this, that we dramatically overestimate how much other people notice our behavior. Because in reality, everybody's so concerned with their own things. Like, we're all caught up in how we're being perceived, our own lives, you know what I mean? So a lot of the times they're just thinking about themselves, just like you are right now, you know what I mean? Anywho, it's not like we're trying to be egotistic or think me, but it's just how we are hardwired, right? That's how our brain is hardwired. And it's mainly because it's a survival mechanism. Because in earlier human societies or whatever, being rejected or excluded from a group literally meant death. So our brains evolved in a way to be extremely sensitive to social cues. So being seen is equivalent to potential judgment, right? Like, it opens door to judgment. Judgment itself is potential exclusion. And when you're excluded, that means danger. You know what I mean? Which is honestly why a lot of those like social rejections still light up the same pain centers in our brain as physical injuries. One of the biggest things that I had to overcome, or I had to like unlearn in a way, was to just like stop rejecting like everything before I get rejected, right? Because I like, my thing was, I try to beat it, right? Like, I was like, I'm gonna reject everybody, I'm gonna close everything off, I'm gonna say no first. Like, that was kind of the mentality, just to like make me feel better in some sort of way. But to be honest, like, everything in our brain, like every belief that we have, every, value that we have, it's not all concrete, right? Like, nothing is permanent. You can literally rewire it, right? Because we have neuroplasticity, the ability to just create new pathways based on repetition, reflection, and internal practice. And that's what I had to do in order to kind of get over this fear of being perceived. So first things first, I had to kind of change the way I viewed myself, right? Because I constantly told myself I was awkward, I was quiet, I was, what's it called, too much of a personality, therefore I had to hide it. But then once you actually like realize that your personality is not a problem, that you're a pretty cool, chill person, that you deserve to be able to express yourself in whatever way you feel fit, then that will be like like a game changer for you, you know what I mean? And just like giving yourself that self-validation and that self-love, like, you need to be able to actually like yourself before you want other people to like you, you know what I mean? So yeah, just like being able to tell yourself that you're a good person, that you're good vibes, chill, funny, that, you know what I mean, like all the, like, creating a positive self-image for yourself, if that makes any sense. Another thing is, I had to teach myself that people perceive you and other people based on how they perceive themselves. Meaning, when someone kind of just like misunderstands you or judges you, they're just like projecting something onto you, right? Like, it's usually a reflection of their own inner world, not yours. So they'll see you through their own lens, their own past fears, insecurities. And that's honestly something that you can't control. So why should you even try and shrink yourself into somebody else's distorted view? You know what I mean? And I'll be honest, not there's so many people out there that perceive me in a negative light. Some people see me in a positive light. Like, people are gonna like you, people are gonna dislike you, and a lot of the time it has absolutely nothing to do with you but how they view you, right? Right now I'm currently going through a huge move, right? Like, I'm moving to a whole new city where I know absolutely no one, and it's extremely daunting, right? But then I'm gonna be around a lot of people of different age groups, stages of life, different backgrounds, experiences, and there's always gonna be that fear in the back of my head that kind of creeps up like once in a while, telling me like, what if I don't fit in? What if no one gets me? You know what I mean? Because that's always a possibility. But what really helps me like ground myself is just like remembering that we're just like silly little people trying to laugh at the end of the day. Like, we're all awkward sometimes. We're all hoping that someone finds us funny. and we're all just hoping that no one like saw us trip while we're walking up the stairs, you know what I mean? So we are so much more similar than we are different, and most of the time people are so wrapped up in their own inner dialogue to care about yours. And research has shown that a lot of people believe that they're being judged more harshly than they actually are, right? And it's called the illusion of transparency, because we all think our anxiety, awkwardness, or flaws are always on display, but just like reminding yourself that they're not. Most people are not going to notice any of those things because they're wrapped up in their own story, in their own dialogue, as I said like 2 seconds ago. So if you're ever like spiraling over a joke that you made, or a moment of silence, or a little bit of awkwardness, let me just say, like, nobody remembers that. Nobody genuinely cares about a little fumble, you know what I mean? So honestly, at the end of the day, you need to like ask yourself, like, what would happen if you just let it go? Like, what if you just say what you meant, right? Like, show yourself fully, say the joke, laugh out loud, say hi for the first time. Like, what would actually happen? Would the world end? Would it collapse? Like, you know what I mean? And I'll be honest, like, I was having a conversation with my sister the other day. I was like, the most freeing thing ever was not giving a shit anymore. Like, genuinely. Because once you stop caring about the outcome, or like what people think, you will literally be so free to literally be whoever you want. And that is something that I've experienced firsthand. Like, I was so anxious for so long, and I was holding myself back, pushing myself into this box, right? Because I was like, my personality is too much for this world. But it's like, once I allowed myself to take those baby steps, like make a joke here and there, and I'm like, oh, like, the world didn't end, right? Like, we laughed, and that's about it. Then it became so easy for me to just say what I wanted to say without having that fear of judgment. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if you judge me. Like, genuinely, like, I learned to be okay with whatever people think about me. Because if you don't like me, you don't like me. If you don't vibe with me, you don't vibe with me. That's totally fine. Like, I'm gonna go find other people that I'm gonna vibe with. Because honestly, not everybody's gonna like you. Shit, you don't even like everybody. Like, I don't like everybody on this planet. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean that they're bad people or whatever. It just means that we don't vibe. Like, genuinely, we do not vibe. And I'm okay with that. So just like shifting that mindset really changed my life for the better. It allowed me to be myself, like, genuinely. And like, obviously everything that you do for the first time is going to be extremely awkward. It's going to be, a little uncomfortable. But then after you overcome that uncomfortableness, you will honestly start to thrive after. And that is something that I'm experiencing over and over again. And I'll be honest, right? Like, it's not easy to become a social butterfly, or to really just experience life the way that you want to right off the bat, right? Because the more you keep yourself in that box, the more you restrict yourself in all aspects, the harder it is to actually escape the box, right? Like, it becomes a bigger and bigger maze. So honestly, it will take time. It will take time. You're going to fail multiple times. You're going to feel a little uncomfortable. You're going to feel a little awkward. But the more you push through it, the easier it actually becomes. Anywho, at the end of the day, people will always have opinions. But that doesn't actually mean that you need to shrink yourself to fit them, right? You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be real, be you, to just like show up for yourself and take up space and own it. Because at the end of the day, you just got to let them perceive you, let them misunderstand you, because the right people will understand, the right people will stay, you know what I mean? So to be honest, at the end of the day, you just have to be 100% yourself. You have to put yourself out there and live life the way that you want to live life. And people will come and people will go. And you'll be just fine. Anywho, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for listening. And if you guys like this podcast, please leave a comment and review. I love hearing from you guys, so definitely keep it up. And yeah, if you guys like this podcast, feel free to share it with your friends and family, whomever you think will like it. And if you guys ever want to connect, I am on socials at Dance POV. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a amazing rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.